So I recently came across this iceberg chart about expensive minifigures and wanted to make a video about it, similar to my LEGO iceberg chart explanation video I made a while ago, but I soon realized that there's really a lot of redundancy on this chart. For example, the gold C3PO is an entirely separate entry from the silver C3PO, and there's really just a lot of very obvious and well-known ones here, at least in my opinion. So as a result, I decided to make my own iceberg chart on the topic, which is not only for valuable LEGO minifigures, but also rare minifigures. Of course, you'll find there's quite a bit of a correlation between those two, but you get the idea. Anyway, I wanted to include a reasonable variety, from well-known minifigures to fairly obscure ones that even I wasn't really familiar with before I researched this video. At the top of the iceberg chart, you have your well-known minifigures, and then of course as you move down, they get more obscure. Not necessarily more expensive, but just mostly more niche. And I really didn't want to just have an absurd amount of entries on here. For example, you could have like 15 entries alone, just on the various Comic-Con exclusive minifigures, so I made those into one category. And before I start, yeah, there are a lot of Star Wars minifigures on here, but I mean, that's just how consumer trends go. Enough introduction though, let's get right into it with the very tip of the iceberg. First up, we have the Comic-Con exclusive minifigures, something which dates back to 2011, as LEGO made 3 minifigures to promote the upcoming DC Superheroes theme. LEGO had Comic-Con promotional items before that year, but if I'm not mistaken, this was the first time that LEGO made exclusive minifigures that were given only to attendees of the event. The first 3 LEGO released included this Dark Knight Rises Batman, Superman, and Green Lantern. It's kind of funny that the Superman is just the same Superman that would come in the $20 set the following year, and you know, I kind of feel bad for whoever got that one. LEGO has released a bunch of exclusive characters and variants of those characters, which upsets a lot of people, childhood me included, because people know that the only way you're getting this particular minifigure, or at least this particular version of it, is if you happen to be one of the few people who attended either San Diego or New York Comic-Con that year. These minifigures go for hundreds or even thousands of dollars online and range from primarily superhero minifigures to some pretty interesting ones like Barb from Stranger Things. It seemed like LEGO stopped doing this for a while, but the company did hand out this blockbuster-inspired minifigure at San Diego Comic-Con in 2023. Now, while people were upset about this one, I mean, not that many people were mad about it. It's a lot more tame than some of the other minifigures LEGO's made for this purpose, so this is arguably a step in the right direction. The Precious Metal Star Wars minifigures refers to the various promotional minifigures made out of gold, silver, and, well, other precious metals. LEGO released this 14-karat gold C3PO minifigure, which only had 5 copies produced, and the white gold 18-karat R2-D2, which is estimated to be worth over $39,000. LEGO also gave away 2 solid 14-karat gold Boba Fetts, along with 2 sterling silver Boba Fetts in 2010 at San Diego Comic-Con and Star Wars Celebration 4. These really take the expensive factor of LEGO minifigures to a different level, considering that they're not just made of plastic, rather of course they're made out of something much more sought after. Cloud City Boba Fett is one of the most wanted LEGO minifigures to date, having only appeared in one set from 2003, that being Cloud City. It's pretty similar to the other Boba Fett minifigure of the time, but of course it does have unique printing on both the arms and legs, something that was fairly uncommon at the time. In recent years, this Boba Fett is sold individually for prices ranging from $1,000 to nearly $2,000. The 8 minifigures in this set make up 61% of the total set value, and the Boba Fett minifigure is the most valuable of the group, which alone contributes 36% of the set's value. To commemorate the 10th series of collectible minifigures, LEGO decided to include a 17th minifigure, with only 5,000 being released worldwide. This minifigure, of course, was Mr. Gold, and this guy sparked one of the biggest LEGO controversies between the company and its fans in recent years. I did talk about the controversy a bit in part 2 of the LEGO Iceberg Chart video series, so I won't go into much detail about the backstory on that one, but simply put, this minifigure having such a limited supply, of course, has made it very valuable over the years. One thing that I do like about this minifigure is that technically any random person could get it. It's not like you had to go to Comic-Con just to have a chance at getting your hands on it. Every now and then, I'll see someone in my TikTok comments claim to have Mr. Gold, and most of the time they're actually able to back that up by posting a video. But LEGO's never made any promotional bonus minifigures quite like this since then, and because of the controversy, a lot of fans really didn't see the point in trying to complete the entire set, if that meant they had to try and scour for this minifigure that only had 5,000 copies of it. It's been estimated that the chances of finding Mr. Gold in a random minifigure series bag was 1 in 1.2 million. He's currently worth about $5,000 as of me making this video. I've considered making an entire video just about the Mr. Gold controversy, so if that's something you would watch, let me know in the comments section. I remember my dad was like, "What's all the big hype about this minifigure?" when he would take me to the LEGO store as a kid. He actually thought the minifigure was made of gold, but no, it just looks like gold. Regardless, this thing is worth like over $5,000, which is just simply crazy. Phase 2 Captain Rex only appeared in the 2013 Bark Speeder with Sidecar set. This minifigure has gone up in value significantly over the past decade, and it's now worth about $250. At the time of me making this video, LEGO did just release an updated Phase 2 Captain Rex with the UCS Venator set, which is $650, and honestly, in my opinion, is a downgrade from the original. The original 2002 Jango Fett was exclusive to one set, that being Jango Fett's Unpaid Intern 1. Today, this minifigure has become a sought-after collector's item, partially because of the nostalgia associated with it. For one thing, it did appear in LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. Also, LEGO's hardly made any Attack of the Clones minifigures and sets, so that of course contributes to the demand as well. Currently, this minifigure is worth at least $300, depending on the condition. Another minifigure that is quite valuable from the Cloud City set is the Cloud City Luke minifigure. Like Boba, this one is pretty similar to a different version that is worth a lot less, but you'll notice there are some different details with this minifigure as far as the printing goes, of course making it an exclusive to the set. It's not nearly as sought after as Boba Fett, but it is still worth quite a pretty penny, coming in at around $400. So that wraps up the first level, and yeah, there are a lot of Star Wars minifigures on here so far, but I mean, that'll change as we keep going. It's time for whatever comes after the tip of the iceberg. I don't know what you would even call this. (2001) Watto is exclusive to Watto's Junkyard from the Phantom Menace, and LEGO did not make another Watto minifigure until a decade later. It is a pretty interesting, unique mold, and it now sells for over $200. The most valuable version of Ahsoka Tano is from the Star Wars set Rebel Combat Frigate from 2012. She is, as you may have guessed, exclusive to this set, and is just really super detailed as well. I feel like there were not too many people who were super into the Star Wars Rebel sets when they first came out, so this minifigure may have flown under the radar for a lot of LEGO collectors. Today, it sells for about $275, which is more than double the price of the set that it appeared in. Apocalypseburg Harley Quinn only appeared in one set, which was surprisingly not a DC superhero set, rather it was the 2019 Welcome to Apocalypseburg set from the LEGO Movie 2. She's the most valuable minifigure in that set and is based on the Harley Quinn from the 2016 Suicide Squad movie, making her the only such instance of a Suicide Squad character appearing in LEGO minifigure form. Being exclusive to the biggest set from the theme, Harley Quinn is worth about $225 now. The New York Toy Fair LEGO set was handed out to a select few members of the press to promote the upcoming LEGO Marvel Superheroes theme in 2012. It was limited to 125 copies and included exclusive minifigures of Captain America and Iron Man. Iron Man in particular was unique because the helmet was printed directly onto the head as opposed to having that molded helmet piece. This is the only instance of such even now. The Captain America minifigure is actually based off of Bucky Barnes and not Steve Rogers, which I would say is a pretty interesting design choice. I feel like these minifigures are not quite as well known as the 2011 Comic-Con exclusives, but still, being released in such a short supply, of course, has contributed to their value and demand significantly. Captain America is worth about $750, and the Iron Man has sold only once in the past half year as of me making this video. That minifigure sold for a whopping $1,450. The next two entries are about LEGO May the 4th promotional minifigures, a promotional series which started back in 2011 with the Shadow ARF Trooper. This minifigure is a hybrid between the Shadow Trooper, which I don't even think is canon anymore, and the ARF Trooper. It was given away in a polybag by the LEGO shop on May 3rd and 4th, 2011, with any LEGO Star Wars purchase over $75. The character doesn't appear in any Star Wars media and is worth at least $300 now. Darth Revan is another May the 4th promotional minifigure released in 2014. LEGO did make a few sets based on the Old Republic, which I guess would now be Star Wars Legends. Revan is a bit of a fan favorite from the expanded universe and is one of the most valuable LEGO Sith minifigures, being worth about $550 currently. Like the Shadow ARF Trooper, you would have needed to spend a certain amount of money at the LEGO store to get this guy on May 3rd or 4th of 2014. The white Boba Fett minifigure was released in 2010 and is based on the original prototype of the character. Boba Fett was originally supposed to be a special stormtrooper and have this unique white armor before the character ultimately became the bounty hunter character that we know today. The original version had about 10,000 copies made and was released in a polybag celebrating the 30th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. In the UK, it was free with a purchase of £30 worth of LEGO in Smith's toy stores, and in the US, there were a few ways to get one, including at Legoland California as part of a Star Wars Day promotion. Builders of the giant LEGO mural at Star Wars Celebration 5 could also receive the minifigure. It's worth about $250, although LEGO did release an updated version in 2015's updated and expanded LEGO Star Wars Character Encyclopedia. This version is only worth about $50 as it was made far more widely available. That wraps up level 2. Time to go just below the surface of the iceberg. Cue the spooky music, I guess. LEGO released the Resistance Bomber set to coincide with the release of The Last Jedi in 2017, and originally this set had this generic Resistance pilot minifigure, but in a rare move, LEGO actually went back to replace the minifigure after the set had already been released, swapping it out with Finch Dallo in order to be more accurate to the movie. The set had been on shelves for nearly an entire year, so not only is this minifigure exclusive to this set, but the only set it appeared in didn't even have it from the day the set was released. More specifically, the Finch Dallo version was only available for about 2 months. The updated set was extremely hard to find, and some of the boxes still showed the original pilot on the cover art, meaning some people didn't know what figure was inside the set. As a result, this minifigure is now worth about $750, which is up over $700 since the set retired about 5 years ago. The only other instance of LEGO replacing a minifigure mid-production, at least that I'm aware of, would probably have to be Black Hair Kanan Jarrus, which, spoiler alert, is also on this chart. The battle-damaged Krang minifigure was available to the first 300 people to visit the LEGO store at Rockefeller Center in New York on October 13th, 2012, dressed as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. This is quite possibly the most niche requirement for a promotional minifigure right here. I wonder what the most low-effort and bare minimum costume was that someone wore and still got this minifigure. The figure alone is valued at around $425, but the set, meaning the backing thing it was given out with, is worth nearly $1,200 now. The I Heart New York shirt Yoda minifigure was a Toys R Us Times Square exclusive, released in 2013 with only 1,000 handed out. The only exclusive part here is the torso, but I guess if you're a LEGO Star Wars completionist, you just gotta have the non-canon I Heart New York shirt Yoda minifigure, because, well, only a certain number were released after all. To get one of these minifigures, you have to purchase a specially marked LEGO Star Wars X-Wing set, which makes sense because this minifigure was distributed alongside the unveiling of the largest LEGO build ever created, that being a giant LEGO X-Wing starfighter. It's not clear what the value of this minifigure is today, but it did sell for over $5,400 just a few months before I made this video. Will.i.am is one of the most unusual minifigures LEGO has made, just because I feel like this is a minifigure so few people know about, and there were only 400 produced. Each one was numbered and given out the 2016 LA's Best Brunch, celebrating Will's and LEGO's contributions to Los Angeles schools. LA's Best is a charity created to address a rise in the lack of adult supervision of children after school in less privileged LA neighborhoods. The item is a custom minifigure, but it is actually officially licensed by LEGO, and LEGO Education was a sponsor of the event. This is a pretty uncommon instance of a LEGO minifigure based off of an actual person and not a fictional character, and I mean, it's not like Will.i.am with the Black Eyed Peas had his own LEGO theme either, so this was a pretty unique one-off. This is an instance of a minifigure that's so rare and obscure that there just aren't any listings of it for sale online, although one source did suggest it could be worth about $1,600. The LEGO Brand Retail Manager Conference is a summit for managers of LEGO stores, and there's usually an exclusive minifigure given out to those who attend, or at least there used to be. For example, you had Max the LEGO Maniac, based on the 80s mascot of the same name. There were at least 3 others of these minifigures, one being a zombie LEGO store employee, along with a camper, and the other one being this magician guy. The magician may have only had about 60 produced, while Zack and the zombie may have had at least 200 produced. And as you can guess, these are extremely hard to find. I guess if you wanted to get one of these without paying an absurd amount of money, you would have needed to work at your local LEGO store and work your way up to a managerial position and then attend this employee conference. These bad boys are worth at least $5,000, although it is tough to determine exact value for each one. LEGO stopped making them in 2019, potentially because they were being resold despite the not for resale label put on the packaging. Chrome Black Darth Vader is a promotional minifigure released in 2009 to celebrate the 10th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars. 10,000 of these minifigures were made and randomly inserted into 2009 LEGO Star Wars sets in the US and Europe. It has the same design as the 2008 Vader, but shiny paint was used instead of the standard black. In Germany, it was given away at the LEGO Club Day at Legoland Deutschland in October of 2008. The value of this minifigure is about $375. I feel like this one kind of flies under the radar every now and then when it comes to LEGO Star Wars promotional minifigures, at least compared to some of the other ones. Kanan Jarrus with black hair and eyebrows is exclusive to the Ghost set from Star Wars Rebels, and is one of the only instances of LEGO swapping out a minifigure after a set had already been released. If you've seen the show, you know the character has brown hair, and LEGO would soon replace both the black hair and headpiece with a more accurate brown to reflect that. Shocking to just about nobody, the version of the minifigure has become quite valuable among LEGO Star Wars collectors because of its scarcity. Parts were available on LEGO.com for replacements after LEGO released the pieces a few months afterward. To find out if your set had the rare original version of Jarrus, one can check the number on the box seal. If the seal codes are from an early production run, I assume lower numbers, then you likely have the rare version of this minifigure. The minifigure is worth about $275 now. Originally I was going to stop here and then just make a part 2 video, and then I realized that this part 1 video would be like 20 minutes, so why even make a second video? Shout out to all the people who like to spend over half an hour of their time watching YouTube videos on very niche topics like this one. So grab your popcorn and your Stromboli, because it's time for level 4. Let's head just below the surface. LEGO gives a set to their employees each Christmas, and in 2019 that set was this very festive Yuletide Squadron X-Wing. Exclusive to the set is the Yuletide Squadron Pilot, a very obscure LEGO Star Wars minifigure, now worth about $475. The only way to get this minifigure was if you received this set from the company or paid a very pretty penny to get it online. Of course, this set and this minifigure do pop up for sale on the internet from time to time, but it is rather difficult to find, although not nearly as hard as some of the other minifigures on this chart. The Black VIP minifigure was exclusive to the Black Card Display Stand promotional set given to LEGO VIP Black Card holders in December 2018. If you aren't familiar, this was a special VIP card given to a select amount of people who purchased the UCS Millennium Falcon during the first few months that it was available. The card and this exclusive gift are limited to a pretty small number of LEGO collectors. And of course, in order to get this minifigure, you need to drop hundreds of dollars on a very expensive set directly from LEGO and during a pretty limited time window as well. The black card was quite a controversy as the company said that the item would come with a number of special benefits over the following 12 months. 5 months after the Millennium Falcon set released, the first special offer was revealed to just be double VIP points on LEGO Star Wars purchases. Many LEGO fans who received the card expected some type of promotion for the May the 4th weekend, but when that time rolled around, the only promotion was a free LEGO Y-Wing blueprint poster for purchases over $35 and a chance to win that 18 karat gold R2-D2 minifigure that I mentioned earlier in the Iceberg chart. The black card frame wouldn't be released until December 2018 for those with a Star Wars purchase from Lego.com. The minifigure included in this set is pretty simple, but that Millennium Falcon print on the torso is exclusive along with this printed tile piece. 5 years later, it's worth about $325. LEGO apparently made a George Lucas minifigure exclusively for the LEGO design team in Billund, Denmark. This minifigure was never released to the public and is exceedingly rare. If you've read the original LEGO Star Wars Visual Dictionary, you probably saw the picture of the George Lucas minifigure, and as a kid, I wondered what the story was with it. It's difficult to find information on it online. One source said it's from 2000 and its estimated value is more than $2,600. Considering the flesh tone and just the detail on the minifigure, I would assume it was made several years after 2000, probably around 2007. Take the info on this entry with a grain of salt as a result. The female Padawan is another minifigure that so few people seemingly know about. This one only appeared in the 2013 set Yoda Chronicles Holocron Chamber and was given out to promote the Holocron Chronicles Cartoon Network show. The set was handed out to journalists ahead of the premiere of the show at an event in New York, and for whatever reason, despite most LEGO minifigures having white circles in their eyes at this point, this one just did not. This change was made around 2008, so it's pretty strange to see a minifigure with that older head, and this is currently worth at least $175. The LEGO NASA Jupiter mission included 3 of these kind of minifigures, those characters being Jupiter, Juno, and Galileo. They were made out of a special space-grade aluminum and sent to Jupiter by NASA. The minifigures were only produced for this space mission, and of course they aren't really LEGO, rather they're figurines shaped like minifigures. If they were ever to be sold, they would be worth at least $100,000, although that's really just speculation because there's no bricklink price for this one. This is also something I talked about in the LEGO Iceberg Part 2 video. Speaking of things I discuss in my LEGO Iceberg chart videos, up next is the Red Sox minifigure. This minifigure was given out before a Red Sox homestand at Fenway Park in Boston at some point during the 1999 MLB season. Information about the minifigure first trickled in after someone made a web forum post in September 1999 about a baseball minifigure a friend got him at a recent Red Sox game. After some discussion, it was concluded that it was an actual LEGO minifigure as opposed to something off-brand, but questions about the promotion still remained. There were likely anywhere between 5,000 to 12,000 of these produced for the giveaway, and were apparently packed loose inside of bigger boxes. The mystery kind of seemed to fizzle out, and it lost interest until 2010, when a Eurobricks user made a post asking about a motherlode of the minifigure that he came across. The user said that their aunt worked at Fenway Park in the 90s and had 90 of the minifigures. At that time of the post, Bricklink had only sold 2, but many more have sold occasionally since then. The minifigure itself is quite generic, and the only unique piece is the printing on the torso. The lore behind this one is interesting, because it seems like people just kind of forgot about it until several years later when that Eurobricks post was made. And what that person did with those minifigures still remains a mystery. This one's value isn't super straightforward, but based on current listings, it's likely worth about $450. Smooth Hair Princess Leia was a unique minifigure variant in which there was a small production error, causing the minifigure hair to come out smooth instead of having the normal ridges. It appeared in the 2010 Tantive 4 set in its initial production run and has become highly prized among LEGO Star Wars collectors. There's apparently at least one other version of this minifigure, that being from the 2006 X-Wing set. It seems that not all Leia minifigures in the sets were smooth, and only a certain amount lacked that textured hair. The Hoth X-Wing version is worth about $200, while the Tantive 4 Leia is valued at about $325. And I could do an entire entry just about random misprint minifigures, but this is definitely one of the more well-known examples. That wraps up level 4, now on to the final level of the iceberg chart, the depths below. Chief was a minifigure from the somewhat short-lived Rock Raiders theme and only ever appeared in one set. Lore-wise, Chief is the leader of the Rock Raiders, a group of space-traveling miners trapped on an alien planet. The theme was introduced in 1999 and discontinued the following year. It consists of 8 main sets, 4 promotional sets, and 3 of these minifigure-based sets, one of which being 2000's Mini Heroes Collection, Rock Raiders number 1. This minifigure, of course, is very rare and hardly available online to purchase. While Rock Raiders was a cult classic theme, it's still pretty surprising that this minifigure is now worth about $375. This is certainly one of the more obscure entries on the iceberg, but there are some even more niche entries to come. One such example being Quattro Boy, which is not necessarily a minifigure, but this counts, right? This figure appeared in one LEGO Quattro set from 2006, which retails for $10, but for some reason is worth about $1,000 new, despite only being worth about $32 used. Formerly known as Quattro Boy with lime shirt and blue pants, this figure is worth about $275 today. Why? Like, no, seriously, why? This is genuinely interesting to me, because it only appeared in the My First Quattro figure set, but where's this demand coming from? I mean, if you aren't familiar with this theme, I don't blame you. Quattro was introduced in 2004 and discontinued in 2006. It was made for children aged 1 to 3, and the name comes from the fact that the bricks were quadruple the size of the traditional LEGO system pieces, and these pieces were massive, even compared to LEGO Duplo. I couldn't find much information on this figure aside from what I talked about in this entry, and for that reason, this is just the weirdest entry on this list. The LEGO Experience Tour Staff minifigure was given out to people who visited the LEGO Experience Truck Tour in 2009 and 2010 across various locations within the United States. There's really not much information about how many were produced or distributed. It's actually pretty difficult to find any information about it at all. The text on the front of the torso reads, "The LEGO Experience Tour, it's a new toy every day," and the back has the LEGO logo with the word staff. Today, it's worth about $350, and unrelated, he definitely looks like he's shirtless. The 2013 Kids Fest LEGO Store employee minifigure was given out at, well, Kids Fest 2013. More precisely, it was handed out to staff who worked more than 40 hours over 5 days. Kids Fest is a 3-day LEGO event that takes place across various parts of North America. This minifigure is worth about $125, and there's also this variant with the name tag on the other side of the apron. Whether or not this minifigure is also from Kids Fest is not totally known. This version is worth over $400 by comparison. I feel like the name of this entry is fairly descriptive. The LEGO Inside Tour minifigure was given out to people who managed to take part in the LEGO Inside Tour, going back to when it first began in 2005. The LEGO Inside Tour minifigure was given out to people who've managed to take part in the LEGO Inside Tour. In addition to the very limited LEGO set given to those on the tour, LEGO started making an exclusive minifigure which the tour attendee could also customize beginning in 2010. This particular version of the minifigure is worth about $2,500. What exactly is the LEGO Tour? Well, for nearly $2,000, you can have a 2-night stay at the Billund Legoland with a tour of the factory, rare entry to company founder Ole Kurt Christensen's original home, and even a meet and greet with LEGO designers. The tour only happens once a year and a spot is not guaranteed. Thomas Kurt Christensen is the great-grandson of Ole Kurt Christensen, who of course is the founder of the LEGO Group. Christensen is on the company board and uses this minifigure as his business card. Only a handful of LEGO employees have had these minifigures made for them, and Christensen's is by far the most sought after. Now, Thomas might have a net worth of about $6.8 billion, but this minifigure will only cost you about $4,400, assuming you can actually find one of these at least. I guess the other way to get this minifigure, as opposed to buying it online, is to simply meet the great-grandson of the founder of the LEGO Group and get him to exchange business cards with you. If you feel like I missed any minifigures that should have been included, let me know in the comments. There were definitely some minifigures I could have included on here, but ultimately decided to leave out just because they weren't particularly worth as much money or weren't quite as rare as some of the other entries on the list. Anyway, let me know what kind of videos you would like to see in the future, and of course, subscribe. More importantly, please consider dropping a like on the video so the algorithm pushes it out to fellow LEGO enjoyers. I don't really know how to wrap up the video aside from telling people to subscribe, which is very cliche, but I'll see you in the next one.